Get ready with me while I tell you why I quit my 6-figure investment banking job and moved to a very remote wildlife reserve in Zimbabwe to do fundraising and strategy for them. I don't actually know if I've explained since I made like my get ready with me to quit video why I actually did this. So I feel like now, better time than ever. So I initially went into banking because I majored in human and organizational development at Vandy, which is like very psych-based. And I really have always wanted to run my own business. My parents both do. And I was like, okay, at some point in my life, I'm going to do this. So if I'm going to, I really need like a robust finance background. And so that's why I went into banking in the first place. But I kind of had this vision of being in the finance world for an extended period of time. Like I didn't think that it was going to be 2 years and out for me. I kind of thought I was going to like maybe go into private equity and then maybe from PE to venture, or like maybe straight into venture and then eventually start my own thing. It's my moisturizer. A year and a half probably into the job, I was just like, okay, this is so not sustainable. And then I started to meet women who worked in the industry and who had been working in it for an extended period of time. And I was like asking them really honest questions about their lifestyle, and I just came to realize that is not the lifestyle that I want to lead. I'm like a big people person, I'm a big family person, and I want to be able to spend real time with my kids. And they just like weren't able to do that in the same way that I think I want to as a parent. And so it really started to make me reconsider what I wanted with my life, what my priorities were, how I could do that. Anyhow, I was just like, okay, this clearly isn't going to lead me down the path towards what I want with my life, so what do I want? And then one day, Makeup Forever palette, by the way. It was actually Christmas. I was sitting with my dad. He's like my philosophical buddy. We will talk about like the big life questions a lot. And so I'm sitting with him on the dock. I think I scared him. I was like, why do we live? Like, what do we live for? Like, why am I alive? Why do people get out of bed each day? And he shot me this look of like, are you okay? But then he realized I was asking it as like an existential question, not because I was like, you know. And he was like, honestly, I live for experiences. I want to experience things while we're alive, because I think like we only get a brief moment on the planet to be alive and to experience it. And so for me, it's experiences. What is it for you? And it really made me think, because I was like, fuck, I don't know. Thought about it for a minute, and I was eventually like, I think I live for connections with other living creatures and to be part of an ecosystem and a community larger than myself. I think that's what I want to do with my life, like have a net positive impact on the ecosystem, foster relationships with other living things. And I was very careful to say like other living things, because yes, with humans, I'm a major people person, but I also find a lot of value in relationships with animals. I grew up with 2 dogs, riding horses. I've just always been an animal person and really value the magic in that human-animal bond. And I think when I heard myself say that out loud, something really clicked in me, because I was like, damn, my current job and the path I'm on isn't really leading towards that. And I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to work with animals, be living near animals, do something that helps animals. Maybe I can use this finance skill set in a way that helps me do something that I legitimately care about. And so that's how I ended up on the conservation train, and specifically like the finance aspect of conservation. 24-hour brow set, love this, it's new. But then there's obviously still the question of like, okay, yes, you want to do this, but how do you get the courage to quit a 6-figure job and go make not a lot of money? And the honest answer is that because I had saved from my time in banking, I was able to feel confident in my move. My mom didn't grow up with a lot, and so she has always said like, even if we're successful, you need to make your own money, because like we're not going to support you. She was like, once you graduate college, like you're on your own. So if something horrible happened and I were to lose my job and I didn't have savings, like I'm sure they would help me, but there was never this idea of, oh yeah, like just go make no money and we'll support you. Like that was not in the cards. So yeah, that's what enabled me to take the leap, is that I knew I had the savings, and then I kind of had just the confidence that like there was value in experience capital for this period of my life, even if I wasn't making money. Better than Sex Mascara. I'd read this book called, oh my god, what's it called? The Defining Decade, that's what it's called. And it was a recommendation actually from one of my college roommates. It's kind of like to light a fire under your ass about like how to use your 20s effectively, basically, because they're a very pivotal moment in your life. But in that book, she talks about experience capital and how getting really interesting experiences can be almost just as valuable as getting more typical well-beaten path resume experiences, even if you want to pursue a traditional path, because people, if you can articulate why that experience was valuable for you, it like helps make you a more interesting, well-rounded candidate for a lot of different jobs. That was kind of my rationale. I was like, okay, like I will be able to get another job after this because storytelling is my strength. I can definitely talk about my experience here if this isn't my forever path and I like can't figure out another way to make money. If you're considering making a big life pivot like this, the piece of advice that I would give you is that, by the way, Thrive lipstick crayon, I'm obsessed with it, I just got it. It's just like, you really do have to evaluate your priorities, and if you identify that like where you are in your life isn't where you want to be forever, then save up, come up with a strategy for how you're going to make money in this new role, and come up with a contingency plan of like, okay, if I go and do this and I realize I actually can't make money, I can't survive, like live off of this job, you need a strat to give back into mainstream life. And so I always had that plan like in the back of my mind. As long as you have a plan for like how you're going to parlay the experience into either a career in that field or another role back in like the normal business world, go do it. You're good to go. But just make sure that you have that sort of safety net, because I obviously would never advise people to be like, yeah, quit your job and have no backup options, because like the job market right now particularly I feel like is very difficult, and so you want to make sure you're putting yourself in a good position if for some reason like your exciting new plan doesn't work out.